Good morning, children. Today we are going to discuss about control and coordination. Control and coordination, a system which matches specific response to particular stimuli to ensure the right things happens in the right place at the right time to the right degree. Stimuli, the changes in the environment to which living organisms respond are called stimuli. Example: heat, cold, sound, smell, taste, touch, pressure, gravity, water, etc. Living organisms respond to stimuli in the form of body movements. Coordination. For a proper response to a stimulus, many organs in the body should work together. The working together of various organs in an organism to produce a proper response to a stimulus is called coordination. In animals, control and coordination is done by the nervous system and endocrine system. In plants, control and coordination is done by chemical substance called plant hormones or phytohormones. Coordination in animals. In animals, control and coordination is done by the nervous system and endocrine system. The nervous system consists of the brain, spinal cord, and nerves. Receptors are the sense organs which receive the stimuli and pass the message to the brain or spinal cord through the sensory nerves. Example: photoreceptors in the eye to detect light, phonoreceptors in the ears to detect sound, olfactory receptors in the nose to detect smell, gustatory receptors in the tongue to detect taste, tangoreceptor in the skin to detect touch. Effects are the muscles and glands which respond to the information from the brain and spinal cord through the motor nerves. Sensory nerves are nerves which carry information from the receptor sense organ to the brain and spinal cord. Motor nerves are nerves which carry information from the brain and spinal cord to the effectors, muscles and glands. See, the nervous system is divided into two groups: central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system includes brain and spinal cord. The peripheral nervous system is divided into somatic nervous system, automatic nervous system. The somatic nervous system is go to skeletal muscles. Automatic nervous system is divided to sympathetic nervous system, parasympathetic nervous system. Is joined to blood vessels, glands, and internal organs. See, the human nervous system. Nervous system are cerebellum, spinal cord, branchial pelvis, uh, intercostal nerves, radial nerve, median nerve, inner nerves, lumbar flex, uh, sciatic nerves, common peripheral nerves, superficial peripheral nerves, digital nerves, scleral flex, all the nervous system from the human being. Human nervous system, part of the nervous system. The human nervous system consists of the central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system consists of the brain and spinal cord. The peripheral nervous system consists of carinal nerves arising from the brain and spinal cord nerves arising from the spinal cord. See, the brain, spinal cord, and cranial, peripheral, and central in automatic. See the picture, all the nerve system is shown. See, the central nervous system, brain and spinal cord. The peripheral nervous system, carinal nerves go from your brain to your eyes, mouth, ears, and other part of your head. Central nerves are in for brain and spinal cord. Peripheral nerves go from your spinal cord to your arms, hands, legs, and feet. Automatic nervous system go from your spinal cord to your lungs, heart, stomach, intestine, bladder, and sex organs. The nerve cells, that's called neuron. Neuron is a structural and functional unit of the nervous system. It has a cell body called cyton containing a nucleus and cytoplasm. It has several branches, structure called dendrites. It has a long nerve fiber called axon, which is covered by the protective covering called myelin sheath. The junction between the neurons is called synapse. Message passes through the nerve cells in the form of chemical and electrical signals called nerve impulse. The dendrites receive the information and starts a chemical reaction which produce electrical impulse which pass through the axon. Structure of a typical neurons. The dendrites and nucleus is presented, the cell body, the axon, the myelin sheath, node of Ravier, sandwich cells, axon terminus. Structure of neuron, a nerve cell. Structure of typical nerve cells. Dendrites, a nucleus, axon, cell body, myelin sheath, sandwich cells, node of Ravier, axon terminal. Structure of neuron nerve cells. The dendrite, a nucleus, the cell body, and axon, myelin sheath, Schwarzschild cell, node of Ravier, the axon terminal. Transmission of message through the neurons. A cell body, a nucleus, axon, hillock, the axon, and myelin sheath is go to the signaling direction in the synaphase, prosynaptic cells and sympathetic terminals. Brain. The brain is the main coordinating center in human body. It is protected by the cranium. It is covered by three membranes called meanings filled with a fluid called cerebral spinal fluid, which protect the brain from shock. The brain has three main parts. There are forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Forebrain consists of the cerebrum and olfactory lobes. It is the thinking part of the brain and control voluntary actions. It controls touch, smell, hearing, taste, sight, mental activities like thinking, learning, memory, emotion, etc. Midbrain controls involuntary action and reflex movements of head, neck, eyes, etc. Hindbrain consists of cerebellum, bones and medulla. Cerebellum controls body movements, balance and posture. Pons controls respiration. Medulla controls heartbeat, blood pressure, swallowing, cough, sneezing, vomiting. See the human brain, peripheral lobe and followed by frontal lobe, temporal lobe, pons, medulla oblongata, spinal cord, the cerebellum, occipital lobes. See the human brain internal structure. See fourth ventricles and cerebellum, medulla oblongata, pons, midbrains and diencephalon. Spinal cord. The spinal cord starts from the brains and extend through the vertebral column. It has 31 pairs of spinal nerves. It carries message to and from the brain. It also controls a reflex action. See the spinal cord, the medulla oblongata to coccygeal nerves. For first the cervical nerves and thoracic nerves, lymphatic nerves and scleral nerves. Wherever we have an disorder or any problem which is related to a brain, example is advised for EEG. It is the instrument that help in recording electrical signal generated in the brain. In this, the electrode with vacuum pads are attached to the scalp of the patient and he is told to relax. The machine records the electric signal and is printed in the form of a graph. The graph consists of different types of waves, that is alpha, beta, delta and theta. The graph is called electroencephalography. Reflex action. Reflex action is a sudden unconscious and involuntary response of the effector to a stimulus. We suddenly withdraw our hand if we suddenly touch a hot object. In this reflex action, the nerves in the skin or receptor detect the heat and passes the message through sensory nerves to the spinal cord. Then the information passes through the motor nerves to the muscles effectors of the hand and we withdraw our hand. Sensory neurons, reflex fare, interneuron in spinal cord, motor neurons is presented, muscles is also presented. See the pathway of reflex action, the reflex action. A reflex action. The sensory organ is smell and go to for internal neurons is spinal cord and motor neurons and muscles. See the pathway of reflex action, that reflex action while motor in dorsal view, gray matters, central canals, ventral cell body of motor neurons. The ventral root is connected to motor neurons and the interneurons and connected to the sensory neurons, the receptor in skin, the effector in muscles, cell body of sensory neurons, dorsal roots. A reflex action in the cell body of sensory neurons in dorsal root generally and gray matters, white matters, spinal cord cross section. See the blue sensory neurons, red motor neurons, green interneurons, hamstring of muscles. Reflex acts. The pathway of reflex action is called reflex arc. In a reflex arc, that stimulus is received by the receptors, sense organ, and it passes through the sensory nerves to the spinal cord. From the spinal cord to information passes through the motor nerves to the effector, muscles or glands for the response. Stimulus, receptor for sensory organs, it transfers to sensory nerves, it transfers to spinal cord to motor nerves, the effector muscles or glands for response. A reflex act. The reflexes show how neuron types working together. The afferent and efferent fibers often pass in the same nerves. Sensory cell body, white matter, integration center. The sensory neuron is there. The stimulus get to receptors. The sensory neurons is transport the association neurons, gray matter, spinal cord, and a motor cell body, motor neuron, and the effects for response. Coordination in plants. In plants, control or coordination is done by the chemical substance called plant hormones or phytohormones. There are 5 main types of plant hormones. They are axin, gibberellins, cytokinins, abscisic acid, and ethylene. Axins. help in cell division and cell elongation and growth. Gibberellins help in the growth of stem and branches. Cytokinin helps in cell division, formation of fruit and seeds. Abscisic acid inhibit growth and affect wilting of leaves. Ethylene helps in flowering and ripening of fruits. See, the physiology effect of axin are well known to promote the elongation of stem. It promotes the growth by elongation of cells behind the apical meristem. Growth in the lateral buds is inhibited when the apical bud of a tall plant remains intact. However, the lateral bud grows rapidly on the removal of apical buds. Suppression of growth in the lateral bud by apical bud due to axin produced by apical bud is termed as apical dominance. The reason for this is due to axin produced in growing tip, and it stimulates growth but it moves downwards, suppresses growth in the stems below. Axin is responsible for initiation and promotion of cell division in the cambium, which is responsible for secondary growth. This property of induction of cell division has been exploited for tissue culture technique and for their formation of callus. Axin promote the growth of root only at extremely low concentration. At high concentration, it always inhibits the growth of the roots. The physiological effect of cytokinin, which observed on the growth of plants, are as follows. Cytokinin result in the promotion of cell division. Along with axin, cytokinin initiated bud and root formation in the callus tissue in plant tissue culture. Cytokinin promote the growth of lateral buds when added in the medium, even if the apical bud is intact. Cytokinin breaks the dormancy of seeds and promotes germination. Application of cytokinin delay the process of aging in plants. Physiological effect of gibberellin. Elongation of intact stem. Many plants respond to application of gibberellic acid by a marked increase in stem length. The effect is primarily one of internodal elongation. Dwarf shoot. Besides general increase in stem length, gibberellin specifically induce internodal growth in some genetically dwarf varieties of plants like pea and maize. It appears that dwarf need of such variety is due to internal deficiency of gibberellins. Blotting. Gibberellins induce subapical meristem to develop faster. This causes elongation of reduced stem or blotting in case of rosette plants, example henbane, cabbage, and root crops, example radish. Dormancy. Gibberellin overcome the natural dormancy of buds, tubers, seeds, etc., and allow them to grow. In this function, they are antagonistic to abscisic acid. Seed germination. During seed germination, especially of cereals, gibberellins stimulate the production of some messenger RNA and then hydrolytic enzyme like amylase, lipase, and protease. These enzymes solubilize the reserve food of the seed. The same is transferred to embryo axis for its growth. Fruit development. Along with the axin, gibberellins control fruit growth and development. They can induce parthenocarpy or development of seedless fruits from unfertilized pistil, especially in case of pomes. Example, apple and pear. Flowering. They promote flowering in long day plants during non-inductive periods. Vernalization. Vernalization or low temperature, a requirement of some plants, can be replaced by gibberellins. Application of gibberellins increases the number and size of several fruits. Example, grapes, tomato, induced parthenocarpy in many species, and delay ripening of citrus fruit, thus making storage safe. Physiological effect of ethylene. Ethylene prevents elongation of stem and root in longitudinal direction. Simultaneously, the tissue enlarges, radially resulting in thickening of plant pods. Ethylene promotes positive geotropic growth of root. Ethylene inhibits the growth of lateral buds in pea seedlings. Ethylene is involved in the ripening of fruits. Ethylene stimulates the formation of abscission zone in leaves, flower, and fruit. This causes leaves, flowers, and fruit to shed prematurely. Flowering can be induced by application of ethylene in plants like pineapple and mango. Ethylene stimulates rooting of cutting, initiation of lateral root, and growth of root hairs. Ethylene is responsible for breaking the dormancy of buds and seeds. Physiological effects of abscisic acid. Abscisic acid acts as a growth inhibitor and includes bud dormancy in a variety of plants. Abscisic acid is a powerful growth inhibitor. It causes 50% inhibition of growth of oat seedling. As the name suggested, abscisic acid is an hormone that stimulates abscission. Abscisic acid controls geotropic response of roots. It stimulates positive geotropism in roots. Abscisic acid causes closure of stomata. See the movements in plants. Movements in plants are of two main types. They are tropic movements and nastic movements. Tropic movements are directional movements toward or away from the stimulus, and it depends on growth. They are of different types like photoperiodism, geotropism, chemotropism, hydrotropism, etc. Phototropism is movement of plants in response to light. If it is towards light, it is called passive photoperiodism. Example, bending of shoot towards light. If it is away from light, it is called negative phototropism. Example, bending of root away from light. Geotropism is the movement of plants in response to gravity. If it is toward gravity, it is called passive geotropism. Example, downward growth of roots. If it is away from gravity, is called negative geotropism. Example, upward growth of shoot. Chemotropism is movement of plant in response to chemical stimuli. Example, growth of pollen tube toward the ovule. Hydrotropism is the movement of plants is response to water. See the phototropism picture. Unidirectional light. Phototropism in mung bean seeds. The shoot is positive phototroph. The geotropism, the roots are going to penetrate in the soil. See the chemotropism. For double fertilization, the pollen grains are germinated. Two sperm cell, formation of tube cell, female gametophyte, polar nuclei, the safety particle integuments. The sperm nucleus go and bind for egg. The double fertilization, the two sperm cell, one with fuse of egg, the another one fuse for secondary nucleus. That's called as a double fertilization or triple fusion. The another one sperm cell fuse the formation of endosperm. The endosperm giving food material for embryo. Nastic movement are non-directional movements which are neither towards or away from the stimulus and does not depend on growth. Example, if we touch the leaves, to touch me not plant, its leaves fold up and drops down immediately due to the change in the amount of water in a leaves. Depending upon the amount of water in the leaves is swell or shrinkage. Plant movements, phototropism. Are you growing plants in our home near the window? The plants go to penetrate in the sunlight coming area. That's called phototropism. Why plants drop when they are kept inside the room? The plant drops when it is kept inside the room as it does not get complete sunlight. So the auxin gets accumulated only at the one side. Therefore, the growth occurs in only that region where auxin accumulates. Therefore, the plant drops. Hormones in humans. Hormones are the certain chemicals released in our bodies that help in control and coordination of the body. Hormones are secreted by endocrine glands. Actually, there are two types of glands in our body. The endocrine system. Endocrine glands in human being See the picture, both male and female. Uh, Hypothalamus, pineal glands, pituitary glands, thyroid glands, thymus, liver, adrenal glands, kidney, pancreas, testes in male. See the same, the anatomical characters of the same picture. Exocrine glands are glands that discharge secretion by means of ducts which open onto a epithelial surface. Endocrine glands. Endocrine glands are the ductless glands which secrete hormones into the bloodstream in human. Pituitary gland. It is a pea-sized gland located at the base of the brain. It is the master gland as it controls the secretion of all the other endocrine glands. It also secretes growth hormones. Under secretion of growth hormone causes dwarfism, and over secretion causes gigantism in children and acromegaly in adults. Thyroid glands. It is a butterfly-shaped gland located in the throat. It secretes the hormone thyroxine, which regulates the metabolism of the body. Iodine is required to synthesize thyroxine in the body. In case of iodine deficiency, under secretion of thyroxine lead to goiter. Pancreas. It is a leaf-like gland present behind the stomach in the abdomen. It is an endocrine as well as exocrine gland. As an endocrine gland, it manufactures two hormones, insulin and glycogen. Both these hormones act antagonistically and regulate the sugar level in the blood. As an exocrine gland, it secretes enzymes to break down the proteins, lipids, carbohydrates, and nucleic acid in food. Insufficient amount of insulin from pancreatics leads to diabetes. Adrenal glands occur in pair above each kidney. It decreases in size with age. Secrete the hormone adrenaline, which help in fight and fight response. Also secrete noradrenaline. Gonads. Gonads are the gamete producing organs, testes in male and ovary in female. The testes produce the male hormone, testosterone, and ovary produce the female hormone, oestrogen and progesterone. Testosterone and estrogen help in producing gametes and are responsible for sexual characteristics in male and female respectively. Progesterone is the pregnancy hormone. Other endocrine organs. The other endocrine organs include hypothalamus, parathyroid, pineal, and thymus glands. Endocrine glands in human being. The endocrine gland also help it control and coordination. Endocrine glands provide chemical substances which help to control and coordinate various activities in the body. The endocrine glands in our body, pineal, hypothalamus, pituitary, thyroid, parathyroid, thymus, adrenal, pancreas, testes, and ovary. When we are frightened or angry, the adrenal gland produces more adrenal hormone, which is sent through the blood to the heart, rib muscles, and diaphragm. This increases breathing rate to supply more oxygen to the muscles to prepare the body to either run away or fight with the enemy. Iodine is needed by the thyroid glands to produce the hormone thyroxine. Thyroxine controls the metabolism of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins and help in proper growth. If the diet is deficient in iodine, it causes goiter. In pituitary gland produce growth hormones. Deficiency of this hormone in childhood cases dwarfism. Excess of this hormone causes tall growth. In pancreas produce the hormone insulin which control the blood sugar level. Increasing in blood sugar level causes diabetes. A diabetic patient has to take insulin injection to control his blood sugar level. The testes in male produced the hormones testosterone which control the production of sperm and changes during puberty. The ovary in female produce the hormones estrogen which control the activities of egg production.